Hi, this is Hi Bob Poor Bob, and we're about to play some Ultimate General Civil War.
Hello, and welcome back. Today, we are going to be playing the camp after Stones River, and before we get into probably Rio Hill. We want to go to it because we worry that they are going to get an armory buff, which would be really bad for us. So, what I need to say now is this is my original run, not the one that I am keeping. So this is what I had built. All pretty standard stuff. 74 morale. I had built up pretty good group of units, but to be honest, the group of units that I have built up this next time is even better. But one of the things I really want to touch on right now is that this group of units here, this 48 firearms here, whenever you give them a perk, it goes to 58. And these guys, this 55 goes to 65. This is in-the-game units. Like, this is what your units should look like whenever you're ending the campaign, and maybe not even 2,500. So just this page of units right here would be 33 1,800 units. Units of 1,800 size, it would be about 33.3 of them. And the way, I'm going to go ahead and show you a display capture now. So this is Pandakraut's video. Let's see if we can, like, I want to make this, I want to do full screen probably because it's going to mess up.
Yeah. 1650 with veteran.
Because it's not going to show it in the center. I just want to do like, oh, theater mode maybe? That's better. That shows a little bit bigger. So this is the way he builds his units, is 3 units of infantry and 2 artillery and a skirmisher, sniper. And, you know, different ones are different, but for the most part it has like 3 or 4 units of infantry and 2 or 3 units of support at 1,800 size. So that would be, what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 units of infantry, and I can make, I can basically make 33 units, so that would be 2 corps and a third. So I have 2 corps and a third worth of infantry right here, already ready to go into the end game. And I think this is about what he said that his firearms was his highest was like 65, maybe closer to 70, but we can look at what his unit was actually there. What was it? This one's 60 and has Springfield, so that's like one of his middle of the road guys. It was about 60, I think. So our best men are pretty much equal to his best at this point, and he's in game there, and we have a full corps worth of these men, and our next line of troops would be plus 15 onto this. That'd be, because yeah, it's 5 from the general and 10 from the perk, would be 30, 40, 49. So these guys are the not great units. And this is what it was going to look like before. I ran into a problem whenever I got into the battle here at Rio Hill, and they had way too good of guns. It was bad. So what I did is I went back and I refought the battle. And you guys have already seen that. And this is what my army looked like after that battle. We did take some losses, more than I would have liked to, in certain places. Especially the snipers. The snipers took too many hits, really. I mean, that's the one thing that I'm really disappointed in, was my several times I let my snipers get hit. Yesterday I was doing some math, and I went back through and I looked over the entire match, and I figured that I went through and I would look like at a unit, and then I would see whenever they got hit, whenever they shouldn't have. Like, really, I should have been ready for that cav there. I shouldn't have let the cav like come up and hit my skirmishers. I knew they had cav. You don't leave your skirmishers out undefended, standing out there like that, and tell them to move even farther forward. Like, that was really dumb of me to do that. So I counted up all the times that I just straight up misplayed, and I came up with about 1,000 losses that were just straight misplays on my part. Moving some units too close to the forest whenever we were fighting there. See if I can pull up my fight. I don't know if I'll be able to. 1 second, I'll pause the video. So the first example is this sniper right here. He goes from being at 247. One of these snipers, like, this sniper is the one that took damage earlier, but this sniper is standing out there in the open and gets hit by artillery, and I should not have let that happen. Took, like, he's the one that is like here, I think. Took 30 losses, and the majority of those, so like 20, so he was at like, let's see here. He had taken like 5 losses. So he took another 25 losses for no reason. Like, he shouldn't have been standing out there getting shot at by all that artillery. Like, I should have moved him up here, got him unseen, done something. Like, moved him, attacked over here, or I should not have used my snipers in that kind of position. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to lose snipers like that. Now, I guess technically that doesn't count as 25 losses I shouldn't have had, because I would have taken them, I would have lost them on some other unit anyway from getting hit with artillery. So that's not really a good example. But it is an example of how stupid I was with my snipers. 1 more second. This is the quintessential best example right here. So in this little exchange here, I know I can go back. I don't want to have to go back and show you guys again, but because I barely found this, that this unit was at a full 2497 whenever I moved it here. And now it is at 2272. That is 250 deaths, approximately, obviously. So this is one of my biggest blunders here. I lost a quarter of the men that I should not have lost right here. This is a huge mistake that I should not have made. And I think I even took a hit on this unit earlier even too. Whenever I was moving up here, this is a really hard thing to play. These guys tend to get unseen and then seen and unseen, and it really messes with you. And that, I think it was like 3 units that moved up and got shots on this guy. And that's probably another 100 or so losses that go towards that amount. And I'll be right back with the next one. The next one is a 3-parter. This unit right here, along with these 2 units, all 3 of these units were at full 2,500 men. This unit takes a shot from this Starkweather down here and loses 78 men, but this unit loses another 12, and so does that one. So I take a total of a ton of casualties here. And then this unit, when I ran him in and got hit by Starkweather just a few seconds before this. That's the second part of it. Lost 100 men, like 90-ish. I'm rounding, okay? So like 100 men there, 100 men here. This is a little bit over 100. That's a little bit under 100. So we'll just average them together. And then not only there, but then I move these 2 units up and get hit by him again. And then whenever I move one of these units up, I also get hit by this guy whenever all I was trying to do is hit the cannons here. So almost all of my misplays are in this last third of the battle. So it was 250, 100, 100, and probably another almost 200. Another 100 from him shooting the side of this guy, and another 100 from him shooting a guy approximately. I mean, whenever he's shooting this guy, he's also hitting all the other guys at the same time. So even if he only does like 60 casualties here, he does 60 casualties to the main unit, then he does another 10 casualties to the skirmisher, and another 10 casualties to the other unit, and another 10 casualties to the other skirmisher. And if you add that up, you get to like 90. It's close. We'll just average it to 100. 100, 100, 100, and then 100 again. So that's 400 here, 250 down there. So that's the majority of the men that I just made stupid mistakes on are just right here, really fast. I just really wanted to point this out. I know that, you know, we're 10 minutes into the video and I haven't really talked about the camp yet much, but I wanted to show you guys kind of a bloopers reel of the stupid stuff that I did. You actually shrink back up. Okay, there we go.
And tell you guys, like, yeah, I could have had 1,000 less casualties on this if I just played it perfect. And I really wish that I could do a little bit better on some of my micro with this kind of thing. It really disappoints me whenever I walk away and I don't put them on hold and they walk off of each other and get shot. And I think that's kind of what happened here. The guy walked off of this guy and got shot because I had all of them kind of stacked up in there. And I mean, that's in a way excusable, but at the same time, like, I literally put everyone on hold so that doesn't happen on purpose. And that's one of the reasons why I move the units the way I do, because I know that I'm going to put them on hold and it won't matter. And sometimes I just walk off and I leave my units hanging and I feel like an idiot. But that's just kind of the way these kind of things go. I will be back in just a second. Okay, now that I got that rant out of the way. This is the units as they were whenever we got done with this last version of the battle. The great version of this battle. So we're going to go 2 points into economy. I think this is the right one, right? Yep, 4,000 casualties. Yep, this is the one. So the first thing we do is the first thing we always do. We separate out all of our units according to what they are. You put I like to put my infantry like up here, like the best infantry, like all my Harper's Ferries are going to go thrown up there. All the second-rate infantry, all the infields, all the 1855s, all the everything else is going to get thrown into here. And all of the artillery is going to be in like 4th Corps, and all the cav and skirmishers are going to be over here. Okay. So I loaded a save with all that done. So we've got all our snipers up here, all our melee cav. We only took casualties on one of those units. All our rifle cav. We didn't take any casualties there. This is just the junk unit of leftovers that I didn't use, and this is the one skirmisher unit that was just the leftovers. I wanted to save some close to 3-star units there. This is all my artillery. I don't know if I've topped them all off at this point, but I will get to that later. I'm not going to go ahead and buy the rest of the 20-pound parrots until, you know, we're almost to max economy. So during these next 3 side battles, I could get to max economy. So if I don't need the 20-pound parrots, then I won't be buying them until the start of till right before the next major battle. This is all new territory for me. I have not played these battles yet. So we have all our Harper's Ferries up here, and the first like 12 units are our best units. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure they stayed our best units. So we're going to actually categorically go through, put a 3-star, a colonel on each unit, a no-bar colonel on every single unit, and test to see how good all these units are, sort them by how good they are, so that then we know what 12 units we want to use in our top tier divisions, and then what unit from our bottom tier divisions do we want to move up there to fill out all these, because none of these are a full 2500 and we want them to all be full 2500. I don't do what Something Compass does. What he says he does is like he empties his manpower pool and then just like takes this one and puts it in here, and then remakes this one and then breaks down this one and puts it here. What I do is I just go, okay, this is a tier. So all 12 of these units in the end are going to be the exact same unit. So you break down all 12 of them, you find the 13th best guy, break him down, and then make your 12 units. If you needed 2 units because you've lost more than 2,500 men in your top divisions, then you break down 2 guys. Whatever you have to get this down, get these 12 units built, or however many units you want to call it. I mean, maybe you just want an elite division. So you just take your 6 best units, break them down, and put them into a division together. Maybe you want one elite division of infantry that are firearms, and one elite division that is all melee. So my best melee unit is somewhere in here. I have a really good melee unit. I can't remember where it is. Maybe it's actually one of the ones down here. Wouldn't that be funny? That one was 46. But see, like, this one's a 46 melee. Like, that's higher, or as high as some of these. I thought I had one that was really high on the melee. There it is, 55 melee. Sorry, I probably skipped over it once there. So we have this guy that's 55 melee. So maybe we want to take the top 6 units out of all of your units as far as just total stats. And then your next one could be the top 6 melee units. Or, you know, maybe one of your top 6 would have been a melee unit, because this is actually one of the top ranked units that I have right here, with this melee stat of 55, because that melee stat is ballin'. And this one is the top firearms. So it could be like your best firearm units and your best melee units if you want to separate them out. However you want to do it is up to you. I have just chosen to go with, at the start of this battle, I had the top 10. As you can see from this sharp drop off to number 11 here. And then just build out to 22 units total. I think some of these units are not on the same par. No. So 11 through 22 were the same, and 1 through 10 were the same. Now it's going to be 1 through 12 and 13 through 24. I like... Well, I mean, right now I can go with, you know, standard numbers like this, and it's pretty easy. So the next thing I would do is probably like go to like, I don't know, maybe 15 units as the top, and then the next 15. So as I keep ranking up, basically I'll just take guys from down here and move them up. I'm not going to be using these guys in very many battles. There's just no reason to use guys that are this good in battle. Like, you look at this unit, it's good enough to go walking into Washington and just wreck their faces. Like, it's got maxed out morale, maxed out stamina, good firearms. I know 59 isn't like insane or anything, but it's good. Like, this is on a guy that doesn't even have the perk, so it's actually 5 higher than that. Whenever you put on the perk, it's 64, 65. Like, these are in-game units. Like, you could easily take these in-game and you would be just fine. They don't need any more experience, basically at all. And we're not going to take them to very many battles after this. I will come back whenever we're at the next one. So here we have it all broken down. So, like, my best unit is HF1. My second best is HF8. And then it's like 5, 2, 9, 4, 7, 10, 3, 59, 3, 6. Then 19 and 13 were the best of the ones that weren't as good. But then we'll also take like HF15 here, since it has a higher firearms value. Probably we probably like firearms over whatever else. So we'll take this unit and we'll break it down with these units, and we'll make our good 12 units. And then we'll take all of these units and then go take one from down here, like this 38, this 39, one of these 39s, whichever one has higher firearms or whatever stat we're looking for, and take it up there and break it down with the bottom 12 units. We might need 2 units because this might be over 2,500 once you count up all the losses on this page. Probably is. It's probably just over 2,500 losses. So we'll do that next. And then what we'll do, I found out a kind of cool number to look at. So what I did is I just wanted to use up all my generals there. So I will come back with the next one and a cool little tip. Okay, so before we get in the tip, there's one last one here, I think. So what we did is we broke down all those units. So this is the numbers that we came out with. 99 morale, because we get +1 from our stat boost here, but 55 efficiency, and this would be almost 50 firearms base plus the 15 from both the perk and the general that I don't have equipped right now, and then 47 melee, which would be 52 melee with the perk. I mean, without a perk. If you chose the perk, then you'd get another 10 melee, but I usually just go for the this gives you 5 melee there. So overall, these units are looking really good. This is only 43 instead of 49. These guys could use a little bit of polish, these next 12 units, but really 43 firearms, so that'd be 58 firearms. I mean, and 97 morale, 46 efficiency. So they do take quite a 10-point efficiency hit and a 6-point firearms hit and quite a big melee hit, almost 9-point melee hit. So these guys are definitely not as good, but these guys are the ones that will still bring into battles like first. So these guys will always be the last into the battle. They don't need the morale. They're just there to finish up, get some easy kills, and move on. We don't want to lose a bunch of these because these guys are expensive to replace. Like, I think it's almost 10 grand for 100 of them. Like, they are really pushing close to 3 stars here. If you use a general on one, they are pushing 3 stars right now. 96% to being 3 stars. So with just a little bit higher Lieutenant General, we'd be pushing 3 stars now with these guys. So they don't need more experience. At least not much. Like, obviously, we'll still put them in whenever we need to. We'll let them shoot some. We'll let them melee some guys. We'll get their efficiency up a little bit more. And then we'll be able to make them easy 3 stars. But we don't want to lose our 3 stars for no reason. These guys are too good to just throw into random battles, if we can help it. So the next thing, this is the big hint here. So what you do is you come over here and you go, most of these guys are about 30. So for some reason, so this is with a no-bar kernel. So if you want to get a unit that has basically just barely 2 stars, you don't want any extra experience, how do you work out how many men you need compared to how many men experience, how many, men that have no experience do you need compared to how many men you need that are experienced? And what you can do is you just do a little bit of really, I didn't really think about that this would actually work until I did it. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. So what you can do is you can go 33 times 3 would be 100. So you're going to lose because these guys are almost exactly, oh, now I guess it's even easier to get 1 star. Now you can get it 1 star with just that. I thought that you had to have like this guy to have, okay, so, it's close. They're close to having a star with a kernel, like 8% above. So what you can do is you can take that idea that they're pretty close to being, because you want to have a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want to go right on the edge of what you can do. Because the closer to that edge you go, the more work you have to put in to actually get it right. So what I found is we know that it'll be about a 3-to-1 ratio. I have about 3 units of, once I break down some of these guys, I'll have 3 units worth of just base guys that have no experience whatsoever. So what I can do is I can take 9 of these guys, break them down with 3 of these guys. So you break down enough to get like 7,500, and then you mix in, what would that be? 9 full units. 9 times 2.5 is 27,500. No, that's not right. 18 plus 4.5 is 22.5. 22.5. There we go. 22,500. So you'll break down 22,500 of these and 7,500 of base units. And you can basically do that for whatever number you have of low units. You just triple the number of experience units if you have this 33 experience. If they only had 20 experience, then you need 1 to 5. Approximately. I don't know if this will work all the time, but it might be a good rule of thumb to just start off there, and then you can tweak it as you need to. So like if you had 40, it would be like 2.5. Whatever. You can do however you want. Let me load this last one in. So I started making the units, and lo and behold, they're really close. Like with a almost no bar kernel, it's got 2 stars and 5 experience. Like I was pretty happy with that number. Like it obviously wasn't exact because a no bar kernel on those guys would have been like 8 points, I think is what it was. And now they're like 5 with a little bit of a bar kernel, but we could go and put the no bar on here and see like probably like a 4 or 5. So it's like 3 points different than being almost exactly halfway to being almost exactly the right amount of experience. So these are, I actually now have 4 levels of units. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these guys are like the ones that I didn't have to break down to mix into the inexperienced units just to get a high enough to have 2 stars on all my units. I did use up quite a few of what I was trying to do is I was trying to use up like all my like really low kernels here on my lieutenant general, so that, because with the lieutenant general in charge, then you don't get the efficiency penalty with a regular colonel as your leader, whereas if you used anything much lower, you would get a pretty good sized penalty. So that helps cut down on that penalty. Like, maybe having a pretty high would be okay, but I just figured I should probably get this guy pretty much up to the rest of that, just because it would be nice to be able to use him on other stuff anyway. And then what I did is I just took my 3 highest major generals, and I figured being in charge of a division should get them that up to lieutenant general within a couple of battles, because I mean, that's not much. Maybe like 2-3 battles. So maybe these 3 side battles, if after 2 side battles it's not all that close, I might go ahead and throw them into an actual battle. But I just figured that getting these colonels up to brigadier generals, and then just getting these colonels up to being like kind of high colonels, might be more rewarding than trying to get another major general whenever I think this major battle I can only use like 3 generals or something. 2 generals. Never mind. I can only have 2 generals anyway, so why do I need 3 major lieutenant generals right now? Like, it's not really that big a priority. It'll be nice whenever it happens, but I don't feel the need to push for that. So yeah, it has been 31 minutes in a camp video. I am so sorry, guys. I really felt kind of strongly about those bloopers, and I really wanted you guys to get to see that from me, because I want you guys to see where you can improve. And I know that sometimes it's really obvious. Like, some of those mistakes were like really blatantly obvious. It was really bad. And those are the kind of things that keep holding me back from beating these in one go. It's not that the enemy surprised me the first time up there in that corner, but the second, third, and fourth time were all on me. Like, I knew he was there. I just chose to basically ignore it and do something stupid instead. Move guys into positions where they're going to die because I forgot or didn't think about the fact that, oh, guess what? Going there is going to be bad. So, on to this. This is, once again, on to this will be the last time. I went ahead and did this. I know I said that I wasn't going to, but I decided to go ahead and do it. Mostly because I kind of did most of it, and I looked at the numbers to see if it was kind of impressive. And I felt like it was kind of cool and worth the show. So, one of the things that I find extremely funny is that my efficiency has actually fallen by 4 points. I think it's mostly because I have, like 27,000 men more than before. So, more men split over the same amount of kills possible means that you're just going to have less efficiency, I guess. That's just the way I take it. My morale is absolutely amazing. 91% morale. I mean, you saw that some of those units that, even the units that I put a third completely untrained troops, still have 60 morale. So that's pretty amazing. I guess I could actually show that right now. Let's see here. Yeah, oh, it's 78 morale and 85 stamina. So obviously those stats are going to be really high, like all the time, basically. And it's a little bit pointless, I'm not going to lie. Like, there's not really all that much point to having that much stamina and morale this early in the campaign, but it means that I don't have to try to grind for it later. I can just play the matches and just worry about strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that, getting to the right positions and stuff, and having the stamina to do that will be nice. Like, I won't have to rest my guys for as long to gain back all their stamina. I was really amazed at this 98% on stamina. If I just broke down all my units, mixed them all together, I would have a 98 on stamina, which is weird, seeing as it's almost like you can gain more than 100 stamina, because 8,000, well, I guess 8,000 men averaged into, like, what would this be? 110,000 plus men. Really wouldn't make that much difference. But I would think it would make more than 2%. I don't know. Seems like that would be like 10% of my force would be. It's not quite 10%. It's like 8% of my force would be those guys. But they do start out with like 20 stamina or something like that. They don't start out with 0. The fire is lower now than it was before. Melee is much higher than it was before. And I think a lot of this just trades off. Like, I'm doing more melee now than I was before. So I have more melee stat than I did before. Pretty simple there. But what really stands out is the 2 stars and 42 over the 2 stars and 18. Which means that I can easily make 2-star units. And every 2-star unit that you make, you get an extra 10 on firearms by having a 2-star unit, which is really nice. And I don't think that I think that once again, this doesn't really speak the volumes of the difference between these two runs. I didn't get a single Brigadier General and only one, like, no bar colonel and a few lieutenant colonels in this playthrough. And in this playthrough, I have gotten way more generals. Like, I got 7 back here, and I got 0 on my new one. So, with the fact that I just got really lucky getting a bunch of them here, I still have, I don't think, I still only have 3 lieutenant generals. I have 4 now. And on top of that, I have 3 that are within 5 or 6% of being lieutenant generals now. And I don't have one that's over, like, much over 50%. Don't even have one over 50% on my last playthrough, along with only having 3 lieutenant generals. So not only do I have one more lieutenant general, but I've got 3 more on the way, and this one, 3 more weren't even close. Like, and the number of brigadier generals that I have, like, right at the edge of ranking up still, even after ranking up 10 last battle, is astounding. Like, so many brigadier generals on the edge. And right now, I'm just farming colonels into brigadier generals. And I already have enough to pretty much outfit the majority of my army now. Between the brigadier generals, what you need 24 per. So only 12 of these. So one of them is going to become a lieutenant general at least. That's obvious. And then lieutenant generals can be in charge of different divisions. That's fine. But I need, what is it? 5 times 4 is 20. So I need 21 of these guys. 1 to be a lieutenant general and 20 of them to be in charge of the divisions. So I have 10 left over here. And then these 44. So that's 54. And I only need 24 times 5, which is approximately 150. It's 5 less than 150, so it's 145. No, it's not. 24 times 5 would be 125 minus 5, which would be 120. So I only need like 120 to have every single unit. Seems wrong. Is that right? 1, 2. Yeah, I guess that would be right. I need 120. So I got the 10 from this. So I'm already halfway to having a brigadier general in charge of a brigadier general or better in charge of every single unit. And I have 24 colonels, which can be in charge of 2,500 unit size infantry units as long as you have a high major general in charge of the unit. So these 24 can count towards having, a good enough leader to command that size of unit. The only ones that don't really cut it is these guys. Light colonels just don't cut it for big units. I got to get those guys ranked up some. But overall, I think that we're doing a really good job getting these guys ranked up way better than we did last time, even though it doesn't look as astounding as I think it actually is. A lot of these are just bot brigadier generals, and they're base level, and they don't have a whole bunch of experience like some of these guys do. And the major generals is definitely different. Like, we've got a ton of them that are over 50%. Like, these three are really close, and then even after that, we still have several of these guys. All my low ones are ranked into units, but I still have, like, that one's pretty high, that one's over 50%, that one's right at 50%, close. But, like, this is where most of those are on my other playthrough. They're all about halfway or very low. So the fact that I have what I have is pretty amazing to me. Like, I'm really, really pretty happy with the way things are going as far as commanders go. So then you get into weapons a little bit. Obviously, it's going to be somewhat similar for a lot of it. I didn't go ahead and put money because money's really weird right now because I have 3 extra supply wagons. So I dumped basically like 100k back into my army just now. So obviously money's not going to really line up all that well. I did get more 10-pounder parrots before. I could get them now. I haven't been buying them because I don't see the need. I don't really need them. And I haven't done any of the buys for 24-pounders because I've got enough of them. Just not really that worried about it. I do wish I could get more 20-pounder parrots, but 19 is the most that you can buy at this point. So, and most of these I either outnumber or there's no reason to have them. Like, there's no reason to have rebores or farmers. Like, they're terrible guns. And I've got enough of everything else. Like, why would I need them? Like, if I really wanted a melee gun, I just use Springfields. Like, I've got 12,000 of them. I can outfit 5 units. That's plenty. And a palmetto. Like, I can just do palmettos and Springfields, and I've got a full division of melee units. And they can still at least somewhat shoot. Farmers and rebores just cannot shoot hardly at all. The Rinses are good. Infields are good. Obviously, I'm going to top them off to 30,000 at least. If I don't, I'll probably just buy the rest of the 9,000 that there are to buy. I'll top these up to 12,500. This is probably supposed to be like 4,400, I think, or some number, because whenever I first click over to this, it doesn't like take the first key entry sometimes, which is a little weird. The big difference is here. I mean, it's 26,000 Harper's Ferries, which is, I mean, whenever you think about how much effort I put into all the captures and all the effort into, you know, half of my playthrough was before I even had the new capture rules, and I was still getting almost 20,000 captures on some of these battles, and now it's just gotten even easier. I'm still getting similar numbers. I don't have to work so hard for it anymore. I mean, I still work hard at it, just not the ridiculous levels of work that I had to do before. I had to like really section up units away from each other in really difficult ways and just cross my fingers and hope that they didn't just all rout out. And they still rout out anyway. Like, it hasn't really changed that. It just made it less likely. In that last battle, I had 4 surrounds. Only one of them was against a wall. Yes, I know that wall surrounds are cheap and cheesy, and I really don't want to do them if I don't have to. But the fact of the matter is that it's part of the game mechanics. We're playing on Legendary. It's a hard game to do the kind of things that we're doing to it. We've had to come up with strategies. It's not hard if you just take all the strategies that everybody's come up with and just use them, you can get similar numbers. I've come up with different strategies. I've come up with different thought processes. I have pushed the limits of some of these things that other people have done to get the kind of numbers that I'm getting. I'm not just pushing them up against a wall and capturing them. Everybody else has been doing that anyway. I'm not really making any changes over what everybody else has done. I'm just building on it in a way that I find extremely fun. I know that it looks cheap and cheesy sometimes, but it is so satisfying to play this game for me, and I really appreciate all the support you guys have given. I'll be really surprised if you guys have watched all the way to the end here. I know this is probably not the stuff that really excites most of you, but I really get a lot of enjoyment out of reading you guys' comments, seeing the support that you guys have given me. I have gone to almost 40 subscribers now, which is really cool of you guys. All your support is really greatly appreciated. I'm really having a grand time. I want to keep playing this. I'd still be playing it even if I wasn't recording. I've put in almost 2,000 hours into the game now. I just spent 5 hours getting ready for this camp video, and I completely had to redo it twice now. So it's so much fun, and I really hope that all you guys are enjoying this game as much as I am. And I hope that everything that I've done has helped you guys either find more enjoyment, get past that battle that you were having problems with, and I hope that going forward, I can continue to show you guys both some of the mistakes that I would make and how to fix those mistakes. Because that's the real important thing here is, yeah, I can tell you that I made mistakes. You guys can see that I make mistakes, but I try to show you guys on my second playthroughs of a lot of these maps how to fix some of those problems, or what a really good run would look like compared to an okay run. Because, it's the first run compared to, I've done 10 runs and done a bunch of research and really looked into it, really dug deep so that you guys can see what difference it makes, how I change where my units are, how I change how I use my units. All that stuff really builds to show you guys what kind of changes you guys could do too. If you like using certain types of units, I try to throw in different things. Some of the battles I use a lot of melee cav, some of the battles I don't use hardly any. It's just sometimes you find places where you can use your melee cav, and sometimes in the exact same battle, the melee cav are almost completely useless because the units just don't move the same way sometimes. A lot of the time, all three of their artillery will move forward on Stones River, and you can hit all three of them with your cav and just completely decimate them at that point, because then they have no artillery, no cav left, and the rest of the battle is just mop up at that point. But one of the big reasons why I made those mistakes I made was trying to get at that artillery, pushing too hard for that artillery whenever really I should have been more controlled and actually taken personal control of that piece of the battle and been more careful with it. Well, you guys have a good one, and I will see you guys coming up in Rio Hill. Have a good evening.